Speaker, one of the most pressing issues for policymakers and parliamentarians right now is how we rebuild the home ownership dream for a modern Sydney, how we create more flats and apartments and houses so that our children and their children and the new Australians arriving in this country can have a place to build their dreams, to create financial security and to call home. We are facing a significant housing and rental shortfall in this city that we can all agree on in this place. But tonight I want to talk about why the Minns Labor government's planning overhaul will scar communities like mine and yours, why it won't create affordable housing in the east, why it will do the reverse, why a one-size-fits-all approach will fail our unique city of cities, and why the coalition would do it a lot differently. I represent an electorate which has one of the highest populations in the state. Almost 80% of Vaucluse is already medium to high density. And as a community on a peninsula with effectively one road in and one road out, with no train station past Edgecliff, which is at the very city end of the electorate, no light rail, highly unreliable buses that are overcrowded and that move with great difficulty along our very choked roads. Speaker, we are a beautiful, condensed community that goes nowhere in a rush. Well, I'm sorry to say it is about to get worse, much worse, due to the Minns government's new highly centralised planning laws described as the biggest rezoning in Australia's history. So it's important that we talk about it. The key threat to our community and my electorate of Vaucluse comes with the changes to the SEP, the State Environmental Policies for Mid and Low-Rise Housing. So if you live within 400 metres of a town centre, I'm talking about Rose Bay, potentially Double Bay, Edgecliff, Bondi Junction, Bondi Beach, flats and apartments which can currently go to around 2 stories can go up to 6 or even 8 stories if they have affordable housing components. If you live within 400 to 800 metres of that town centre, and this covers so much of our electorate, the majority of it, you can expect the following: increased heights of up to 6 stories. This is not just in the business districts, but in low-density zones in areas of heritage significance, and the detail is sparse. Both Waverley and Wallara councils have done modelling on what this could look like, and it's dire. It's going to change the character, but importantly, the functionality, the movability of our communities. With all that proposed development, there is no provision for nor consideration of funding for infrastructure upgrades, none. No talk about road improvements, no upgrades to ageing water and sewage system, no talk of extra schools to account for the thousands of new families, no guaranteed protection for heritage significant sites, conservation sites, or for environmentally sensitive land. This is roughshod planning, and it is coming to almost every street in the eastern suburbs and beyond. The Liberal and Nationals support more development, but have a considered and more sophisticated plan that doesn't insult Sydney's differing suburbs. We want to work with communities to identify suitable locations for increased housing with access to transport, schools, hospitals and essential services. We want to engage with Canberra to reduce Australia's record immigration, to reduce pressure on rents and improve housing affordability. We want to remove the burden of stamp duty on young people by reintroducing our first home buyers choice program, provide stamp duty exemptions for older people looking to downsize and free up their homes to younger families. And we want to incentivise local councils to work with communities to meet and to beat those housing targets. And that's what we have been doing in the East for decades. Every electorate in Sydney has its unique characteristics driven by history, by topography, where we sit within the fingers of Sydney Harbour or the mountains or the Parramatta River. And that topography has created a city of cities. We're different, we're unique, and that's why we need planning laws to suit those unique attributes. Labor's plan is a one-size-fits-all approach to planning that puts us in the same box, and it was done without consultation, and this is something big. It's going to be generation impacting. It's something that we need to talk about. Waverley Council has warned that the rezoning changes will lead to a major increase in land values and drive up prices. It's doing the reverse of the intent. So we need to have this conversation. You were not afforded that opportunity before it was introduced by stealth before Christmas. I urge you to speak up now and have your say.